Tenney with the latest there. Joining us right now is Republican strategist Gianno Caldwell, along with Democratic strategist Jessica Tarlov. Good to see you both. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Who is behind all of this protesting, do you think, Gianno?
I think that the Democratic Party, which organized the protests in Chicago, is behind it. What we saw is violent Democratic thugs who are afraid of Donald Trump because they believe that if Donald Trump is the president, he would make sure the rule of law is followed. Additionally, we've seen throughout this country, whereas there's been sympathizers when it comes to law enforcement, in the sense that everything is anti-police, and I think that we're going to see a difference under Donald Trump.
Jessica, what do you think?
Well, I don't think that we should blanket an entire party with this. We know from the what's been said about what happened in Chicago that it was organized by the far left, and those were Bernie Sanders supporters. They were not Hillary Clinton supporters. And when Gianno says that Donald Trump wants to enforce the rule of law, I don't think the rule of law is banning Muslims from this country. So, I mean, there's some argument to be made there, but no doubt this hurts the Democratic cause. I mean, people are already freaking out in anticipation of what's going to happen at the DNC. Rumors swirling about taking out protest permits. And when you want to rail against Donald Trump and you want to say that he's fomenting this kind of violence, we need to be better than that. We really do.
Dagan, how do you see it?
I think at the end of the day that it's absurd, but it doesn't hurt Donald Trump.
No,
and
I agree.
It helps him.
Yeah.
It hurts the Democrats. You agree with that?
Yeah. Well, you saw with the Bernie Sanders reporters the disruptions in Nevada. And Bernie Sanders essentially said, "There's no problem here." And and the head of the Democratic Party in Nevada was getting
death threats, and for her grandchild.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I think if Bernie Sanders cares about this country and really cares about his supporters, then he needs to step up and say something about it.
Somebody needs to step up and take some leadership.
Yeah, listen, I think this absolutely helps Trump. I always hate to see police attacked like this. It's a bad scene anytime, anywhere in America. But I have to say, as a Trump supporter, politically, I'm actually sort of cheering it on because I think it helps Donald Trump, because what we're seeing
as long as no one gets hurt. I mean, this is the real danger. We're one rock and a face away from someone really being
again, I don't.
No, of course, I'm not insinuating that.
What we're seeing here, though, I believe, is the manifestation of liberal fascism. This is the intolerant left. This is what the left really wants. Is they say, think as we think, speak as we want you to speak, or get lost. Yeah. They are not willing to hear.
You have a real discourse inside of the Democratic Party right now. And Schultz-Wasserman, they're talking about throwing her out completely as the head of the DNC. So you have real discourse between Sanders, who feels like he's getting completely stabbed in the back by the Democratic Party, and these are his supporters who feel that the Democratic machine is not behind him. Right. So I believe this absolutely hurts the Democratic Party.
This illustrates a corner of the far left of preaching tolerance by fomenting intolerance. It's the most insane circular logic, and it never goes anywhere.
And you don't mind seeing protesters calm, organized protesting, but when it gets like anarchy, this is just wrong.
Burning.
What about this, you guys? The Clinton campaign releasing a new ad, this time targeting Donald Trump's business record and his past comments on the real estate market. Listen to this.
This is an economy that can't find the bottom of bad news.
10 years of saving completely gone, vanished.
It's the biggest crash of household wealth that we've ever had in the United States.
I sort of hope that happens, because then people like me would go in and buy. If there is a bubble burst, as they call it, you can make a lot of money.
So that's the ad from Clinton, and Trump responded to the ad. He said in a statement, "I am a businessman and I have made a lot of money in down markets. In some cases, as much as I've made when markets are good. Frankly, this is the kind of thinking our country needs, understanding how to get a good result out of a very bad and sad situation." What do you think about this, Jessica?
I mean, I think that that's the perfect response from Donald Trump, because it's resonated with Americans that he's a businessman. We're a capitalist nation, and then his voters feel like we're swinging way too far to the left here, moving towards socialism. So I get it. But the interesting test for me will be how far people will go in terms of their support for him when they feel like he's actually hurt them personally, that he's profited from their losses, the loss of their home, the loss of their jobs, et cetera. So I think it's smart for Clinton to keep hammering this angle and to talk about about, what economic gains we've made under Obama. She's obviously going to use her husband's record with 22 million jobs and 4% GDP growth, which is what everybody wants. But it's going to be a hard sell when wages are relatively stagnant, and it's going to be tough.
So the two business guys on the set, I mean, would this resonate?
Well, no, it's
you're talking about shorting markets all the time and making money when markets go down.
Sure. Well, I'm not making them go down, first of all.
Of course not.
Nor did Donald Trump make housing go down. He's just saying when things go down, sometimes there's opportunity. Look, he's a developer. Developers love cheaper land so they can build beautiful things, which, by the way, he's done in this city and around the world, just like a restaurateur wants cheaper food, right? So that he can, so his margins can increase.
The winery that they own in Virginia was bought at a foreclosure auction, but guess what? It was owned by a rich person. So it was a rich person who went to foreclosure. So I don't know how you turn that into
Everybody would love to find a foreclosure situation.
Right.
And when you can, you take advantage of it. Many people bought condos in Miami, right at the bottom of the market. They took advantage of the depressed prices. He didn't cause the depressed prices.
I don't think this is going to resonate.
No.
Gianno, what do you think?
Backfire.
I think that it won't resonate. As Donald Trump said, he is a businessman. As I did when the market crashed, I bought a lot of stock in AIG and did very well. I think that's what people will want to see, somebody who is a strong investor. And he's been unapologetic and unafraid to pontificate on his business success. So I think that this is going to be something that doesn't really play out in the way in which she thinks it will, because we see that she's trying to make him out to be just a billionaire who's out for himself. But this billionaire has had an economic populist message that is connected with blue-collar workers across this country, and they just want to believe that we can go beyond what appears to be a very rigged system.
Yeah,
so I think that it actually plays to his base.
Does she make the assumption that people are stupid? I mean, Jessica, really, I mean, no one thinks Donald Trump caused the financial crisis, right?
No, that's not at all. But what people could think is that it doesn't feel genuine, or doesn't feel like he really cares about the little guy when he's just talking about profiting off of other people's losses. That's all that I'm saying. It's an emotional appeal, and that's what she'll continue to make as this carries on.
Sure. Jessica Tarlov, Gianno, Caldwell, good to see you both.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Straight ahead, a fresh take on the Fed, how Iron Man, a Grammy-winning